Ms. Grijalva, Rep-elect Grijalva, has not yet had a scheduled date because she was elected after the House was out of session. So I am anxious to administer the oath to her as soon as you guys vote to open the government.
You don't want to be on the Epstein discharge. How much?
It's totally absurd. You guys are experts at red herrings and distraction. No, it has nothing to do with Epstein.
Nothing to do with Epstein. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson wandered out of his office when he heard that Arizona Democratic Senators Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego were gaggling a few feet away with reporters. What followed was Johnson offering his third explanation for why he hasn't sworn in Democratic Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva of Tucson. Now Johnson says Grijalva will be sworn in when the government shutdown ends. So when will that be? Democratic Congressman Greg Stanton of Phoenix joins us now from Washington, D.C. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you.
Well, put a timestamp on this. It is now Friday morning. We're talking, there's a caucus meeting, a House caucus, Democratic caucus meeting going on. Let's start with Adelita Grijalva. And setting aside the politics for a moment, she isn't sworn in. She doesn't have an office, a budget, or a staff. As a congresswoman or for you, what would that mean? What would that prevent you from doing?
Well, let me give you a very specific example. There is the remnants of Hurricane Priscilla bearing down on her district right now as we speak. We don't know how bad the rain and flooding is going to be. Earlier reports indicated this flooding could be really, really bad, potentially deadly flooding in her district. The fact that she is not sworn in means she cannot coordinate with state, local, and federal emergency management officials. She can't coordinate with FEMA to ensure that people and equipment are pre-positioned. It is ridiculous and unacceptable that 2.5 weeks after she was appropriately elected, overwhelmingly elected, she has not been sworn in, and the impact of that is very serious for the people of Arizona District 7.
Is that something where, say, your office could take up the slack, or another office, perhaps Juan Ciscomani?
Sure. We're going to do the best we can. I mean, we're obviously, Adelita Grijalva and I are working very closely together to help her with the transition. I've written letters to both the president and to Kristi Noem of Department of Homeland Security asking that they pre-position people and equipment. We've asked them to waive the $100,000 rule, the rule that Kristi Noem has to personally approve every contract above $100,000, because that could really slow down services and support, just like it did with those recent Texas floods, those deadly Texas floods. They delayed response in FEMA, and that delay cost lives in Texas. We do not want that to happen here in Arizona. So we're going to do the best we can to coordinate with her and to help Southern Arizona. But the truth is, there is no substitute, full substitute, for having a sworn-in member of Congress.
So Mike Johnson now says Adelita Grijalva will be sworn in when the shutdown ends. When's the shutdown going to end?
Well, first off, let me be clear about something. Mike Johnson is being completely hypocritical in that regard. Just a few months ago in April, 2 Republican members of Congress were elected in special elections in Florida. He swore them in the next day, less than 24 hours after their election, and Congress was not in session then. He did it during what's called a pro forma session. There have been 6 pro forma sessions since Adelita Grijalva was duly elected by the people of Arizona 07. He could have easily been consistent, do for her exactly what he did for these 2 Republican men. He should have done it, should have been done already. It is sad and tragic that he is politicizing this. And yes, I do believe it is because she will be the 218th member of Congress to sign the Epstein discharge position. And that is not an acceptable reason to subvert democracy by not swearing in a duly elected member of Congress.
So I wonder if a pain point is coming up this week. On October 15th, active duty service members could start missing paychecks. Is that a pain point where Democrats and Republicans will have to gather, because that might be the last thing you want to happen, have our troops go without pay?
We should have been negotiating this whole time. And for the reasons you just described, we should be negotiating right now. We should be negotiating next week. We should all be here in Congress. Mike Johnson has canceled all of the sessions of Congress since the shutdown has begun. That's not leadership. That's the opposite of leadership. We should be negotiating together. Obviously, Democrats, we are very serious about the issue of ensuring that people don't lose out on their health care, either have their health premiums doubled through the Affordable Care Act, or, as we know 4 million or more of our fellow Americans will lose health care because the premiums will be too high. It is a very important issue. Notices of those premium increases go out in the next few weeks. That's why there is no reason to delay these negotiations. Let's reach bipartisan compromise. Let's get this government open. It should happen now. It should happen next week. We should be negotiating together, and we should be in session in the United States Congress.
As a political matter, though, does paying the troops help to kind of clear the mind?
Yeah, obviously, that's going to be a
Capitol.
very important day, a very sad day. The troops, when the shutdown ends, as we always have done, despite what the Trump administration is somehow suggesting, that we will not pay back pay to our public servants, including the women and men who serve as the military. We will pay them at the end of this shutdown, but missing a paycheck during the shutdown is a very painful thing, and it's the reason why Congress should be in session throughout the weekend. We should be back next week. We should be negotiating, get people health care that they deserve, and we should reopen this government as soon as possible.
Let's talk about the Obamacare subsidy extension that expires at the end of the year. Democrats want to keep that going. Republicans right now don't. We've all seen that video of the gaggle with Ruben Gallego, Mark Kelly, and Mike Johnson. And there was a point right before Mike Johnson showed up where a reporter asked Senator Ruben Gallego, is this something you're willing to negotiate on, the Obamacare subsidies? And he said, yes, that's something we can negotiate on. So is that something you're willing to negotiate on, and what could that negotiation look like?
It's important to remember that in the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, now the Republicans don't call it that anymore because the bill is so unpopular with the American people, more than 10 million of our fellow Americans will lose health care under the Medicaid system. Our economy is so largely based on health care and the growth of health care, hospitals, community health centers, et cetera. So they've already decimated our healthcare system before the ongoing Affordable Care Act fight. We do not want them to further decimate our healthcare system, taking more people off of healthcare coverage, not able to see their primary care physician, not able to see preventative care. We want to negotiate. That's what we're asking for. We haven't laid any hard lines to say that we have to get this or that or everything, but they should negotiate. Unfortunately, President Trump, who's really calling the shots on this thing, has been unwilling to have any conversation about negotiation to help people stay on their health care so they don't have to receive health care through the emergency room system, which is the most expensive form of health care. Instead, let's get them health insurance so that they can see their primary care physician, engage in preventative medicine, and keep healthcare costs down and keep people healthier. That's what we are fighting for in this process, and it's what the president and Mike Johnson should be negotiating about.
I've got 30 seconds left. I have to say, Democrats seem united right now. Do you think Democrats are winning on the shutdown with the voters?
Look, the American people are with us because we are taking the correct position, fighting for their ability to have health insurance. The American people are really smart. That's the reason why the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill is so incredibly unpopular with the American people. And people watching this debate over the shutdown know that the Democrats are fighting to keep people on health insurance. That's why they're with us. It's not because they like us more personally. It's because we're fighting for what they believe in, what's an important value for them and their families. And it turns out the American people don't like it when you take away health care from them, whether it be through the Medicaid system, access in Arizona, or through the Affordable Care Act system as well. They want themselves, their family members, their coworkers, people they go to church with, their colleagues at work, they want them to have health insurance. And when you rip it away, they react very negatively, and that's what the Republicans are experiencing right now.
Got to end it there. Congressman Greg Stanton, thanks so much for making time.
Thank you so much.